any posture that will require, so basically if your hips float up in the air, if you're not holding, so basically if I'm holding my weight, it means that I'm using my muscles to make sure I'm not sinking and crushing my joints. If I'm supporting myself at the place where, okay, there's no compression here, I'm still really comfortable. I'm deep enough to feel a bit of a stretch, but I have good support so that I make sure that my butt is supported. And then I can go forward and feel very, very comfortable. But for that, though, is that you need props. If you're in a studio that does not have props, then teach it in a more muscularly sometimes props can be too high too, but it's better to be too high than to not have enough support. I would still suggest to maybe use more support than not enough. Yeah.
That's great. Can I ask you one last thing?
But most, often yoga books will show variations with cushions or, no? Oh, okay. Sorry, I was pretty sure that I might have shown with something under the buttock.
One last thing,
yes.
Triangle pose. When we
yes.
go into it, our knees, do we keep a slight bend on that too?
Always.
Always.
Always. No joint should ever go to the end of its range of motion.
Okay. So when they say keep your legs straight, it means with a slight bend?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
In triangle pose, what we have to work? I mean, like when I'm doing triangle, I'm feeling like that my muscles here are stretching. Is it what I have to do, or I should like we're looking more for the opening of the heart or something?
Well, first and foremost, this is a standing posture that is meant to open your hips. The main action is within first your legs and hips, and then there's an action of opening within the torso to get that stacking that I was talking about. But a triangle pose, a lot of people will be in their triangle pose and they'll be like, oh, it's stretching here so much, I love this. Your triangle pose actually is not supposed to be so much of a side bend. It's really supposed to be lengthening both sides of your body so that it's the inside of your leg that you're really stretching.
Okay, so this is the point. Like,
yes.
Okay, so
yes.
if I'm like that, I guess I'm better aligned if my fingers are just touching the floor, but when I'm like that, I'm feeling it much more.
Yeah, but we see that your body starts to do this kind of weird spiral. And
so
also, when your hand is to the inside of your foot, what happens also is that your hips are kind of sticking back. So, especially when the mobility is there, because you see you have most of the flexibility, try to have the hand a little bit more to the outside of your foot. As soon as you start doing that, now try to descend your tailbone. Send your tailbone away. So you have to, feel the difference?
Yeah.
So it's imagining that wall behind you that not just your shoulders want to get into, but almost your lower back also. So you see you again have to wake up that little bit of the core. So your core should almost be activated all the time. If any posture you're doing, especially a standing posture, and you feel your belly be all soft, there's a lack of activation here. You want to have that little bit of extra. And here, as soon as you feel like you know, the ground, touching the ground will not give you a medal, nobody will necessarily be like,
no, it's not about that,
congratulations,
but it's just I
you've
don't
achieved the end of your yoga practice, you're now retired, and it's, because it's, using a block for the next 20 years is okay.
No, it's just when I'm touching the ground with my whole thumb, I'm feeling my muscle working, like stretching. And when I'm not touching it, I'm like feeling it less or almost not.
The thing is that the posture is not bad because there's no stretch. Because basically, especially when there's a lot of mobility, so even though you can very comfortably touch the ground, get yourself comfortable there, and then by lifting yourself a little bit more, for you maybe your challenge will be to let go of this and then do this instead. So that you muscularly hold yourself. Because you already have the flexibility, if you want to find a challenge, your challenge will probably be in holding it differently. By no longer resting, but by activating. So those are ways, like because if you feel a little bit lacking in the challenge that you want to find from your practice, this is a good way to really bring about a much bigger challenge where you really want to hold your whole body at all times.
I wasn't sure if the purpose is more like stretching the hamstring or opening and twisting. So in Jen, since the teachers, they were always kind of twisting us. I thought that maybe it's more heart opening, the purpose of the
But
pose.
then again,
Yeah.
you start from the ground up. So if what's going on from the ground is not happening yet, focus on what's closer to the ground first. Then you work on something higher up. Because if someone is here and it's pulling like crazy, why would I also be bugging that person to also get perfectly open? This will come over time. Like one day I will tell them, okay, place your legs, place your hips like this. Try to get your shoulder a little bit more in line with the other shoulder. And then every time we'll just give them a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. But when your practice goes further, and even though touching the ground does not even produce a stretch anymore, does it mean it's doing nothing? No.
No, it's just I really enjoyed that specific stretch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
It feels good.
but then for you it probably will be to go into something like this, where you go a lot deeper. But this is probably not something that you will do in a group class. It may be something that you will keep for your private practice at home. And that's also something that if your practice brings you further, then sometimes your practice also is about finding more independence in your practice. To be bringing your practice to the other level by seeking different teachers that can bring you to that different level. So that's why group classes will give you up to a certain point, but then afterwards you either need to start doing privates or going into different classes or doing workshops, or so it goes a little bit beyond the scope of because in a teacher training, especially like this one, we're trying to get comfortable at teaching mainly for beginners. When we have more advanced students, is because our own practice has usually advanced. And so, because again, it's very difficult to teach something that you've never mastered or really felt or understood in your own body. So, seeking the help of someone that will be able to guide you to get to that other level will then be something more appropriate for you.
So when I do that and I haven't worked out in a long